Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It is almost time to file your 2024 taxes. So in today's video, we are going to be breaking down one of the most important questions when it comes to your taxes, and that is to whether or not you are going to use TurboTax or some other software or hire a CPA. CPA just stands for Certified Public Accountant. So if you clicked on this video, you're probably wondering when to use a CPA versus when to use a tax software. So we're gonna break that down right now. So in this video, I'm gonna be saying TurboTax, but you can use any software that you want. You can use TurboTax, H&R Block. There's other free softwares out there and ones that you can pay for as well. I personally use TurboTax. So I'm gonna break this down on when to use TurboTax versus a CPA. Let it be known that I am a CPA, Greg Acton CPA, that's my YouTube channel. But I am going to show you there are times when you do not want to pay for a CPA. So when you should be using TurboTax is if you have a simple tax return. Today's tax softwares are very sophisticated, so they're very smart and they just walk you through your tax situation step by step, especially if you have a simple one. They'll just ask you questions and you input the data. It's super simple. So if you have a simple tax return, TurboTax could be a great option for you. All right, so let's break down what I view as a simple return. So a simple return would just be W-2 income. Even if you have like multiple jobs, that's totally fine. If you have like some interest, dividends, or things like that, you're gonna get a 1099. Those are very easy and very simple to put into a tax return. If you are taking the standard deduction on your tax return, that would be simple. If you itemize it, it gets a little bit more complicated. TurboTax can super easy handle earned income tax, child tax credits, student loan interest deduction. All of those things can be handled by TurboTax really easily. So if you have those, if that's your situation, it is a simple return and you can use TurboTax. And actually all of those are included in the free version of TurboTax. Now there's some things that I view as simple as well that you may have to end up paying a little bit at TurboTax. So I'm gonna go over those right now. You may have to end up paying if you have like itemized deductions. Itemized deductions just means if you have like health, charitable donations, mortgage interest, a few things, they can itemize that and add up to be more than the standard deduction. And if you have that, you can get a bigger deduction. Now you may have to pay TurboTax to buy the software to be able to handle the standardized deductions. The itemized deductions, but it's very simple and it's still TurboTax and it still just walks you through it step by step. Number two, if you are comfortable using technology, then TurboTax is the way to go. TurboTax is very simple technology. It's awesome to use as an end user. I like it because it just walks you through step by step. And so if you're comfortable using technology, TurboTax is awesome. If you are very uncomfortable with using technology and you are worried about inputting things correctly, then you may want to hire a CPA. But if you have a simple return, you're comfortable with technology, TurboTax is great. Another reason you may choose TurboTax is if you want to save on costs. CPAs can charge hundreds of dollars per hour, and even if you have a simple return, it may take them an hour to just go through it. So it could end up costing you hundreds of dollars to file, where TurboTax, if you have a simple return, is absolutely free. You may also choose to use TurboTax if you want to do things on your timetable. Obviously, if you hire a CPA, you might have to work around their schedule a little bit. So if you're wanting to file very quickly, TurboTax might be a great option. Hey, if you're finding value in this video, please hit that subscribe button. I'm gonna go over a bunch of tax tips as we head into tax season, and I go over personal finance tips as well to help you be better with your money. So this is what I view as when you should hire a CPA, and that is if your tax situation is complex. So if you have multiple businesses, if you want to do tax planning, if you have investment income and you're taking the itemized deduction, all of those things can warrant hiring a CPA. Now, if you're not comfortable with technology, you may want to hire a CPA so they are the ones doing it for you. If you want that personalized like help from an individual, then you may hire a CPA. If you want to tax plan and be forward thinking with when you claim deductions, especially on a business aspect, then hiring a CPA can be worth its money. Now, like I said, if it's simple, you may just want to save the money and go to a tax software, but it's as you get more complicated, if you have rental properties, those things, then you may want to consult with a CPA and have the best tax strategy possible. Another great thing about hiring a CPA is they can help you if you were ever audited. So if you were being audited, you can have a CPA work with you, work with the IRS, and try and reduce any penalties or interest, or just help you get through an audit and give the IRS what they want so that you can go through it clean, right? And that's what we want, it's clean audit. And that's what CPAs want as well. If they don't want that, then you should look for a new CPA. Now you can pay for audit assistance with TurboTax. So if you ever file and say, hey, if I get audited, I want assistance with the IRS, then you have to pay for that. But obviously then that increases your costs. So you have to weigh that on whether or not it's worth it. Now simple returns are not super likely to be audited by the IRS, and TurboTax actually has like an audit risk thing. They just say like, hey, what's your chances of being audited? I'm going to tell you right now, a simple return is probably not super likely on being audited by the IRS. I'm not saying it's impossible, because they will audit some simple returns, but it's just not as likely. So a CPA might provide you just like peace of mind knowing that a professional, a CPA, somebody who does taxes all the time, looked at your taxes before you filed. That being said, TurboTax, like I said, is pretty great. It's just step by step. It's awesome. So this is on TurboTax's website. It actually says about 37% of taxpayers are simple tax returns. So very, very simple, and you can actually file those for free on TurboTax. So here's some quick differences between TurboTax and a CPA. Cost, TurboTax is low. It's usually less than $200. Like I said, if it's simple, you can do it for free. A CPA can be higher. They can range from $200 to $500+ an hour. So if you have a complicated return, that can end up costing a chunk of change. Complexity is TurboTax, very, very best, like the best is for simple to moderately simple tax situations. Now a CPA, that's best for complex situations, business, investments, audits. Support, TurboTax has limited support unless you pay extra. CPA is going to be a lot more personal. You'll be able to talk to somebody. Turnaround time, obviously, if you can be fast and get all your stuff prepared, TurboTax can be super fast and you can just get it done whenever you want to. A CPA, you may be more on their timetable. Now, audit assistance, there's no audit assistance with TurboTax unless you pay for it. A CPA can represent you in front of the IRS. Tax planning, TurboTax does some basic tax planning, but if you have any more advanced tax planning that you want, you can talk to a CPA and they can help you throughout the year. So this is personal opinion. I think the large majority of tax filers should not actually hire a CPA, because just like TurboTax said, 37% of taxpayers are eligible for that simple return. That means most people, 40%, have very, very simple returns. And outside of that, you may have like a moderate or a moderately simple. You can also handle TurboTax at that point, especially if you are comfortable with technology. If you have any specific questions about your situation and whether or not you should use TurboTax or a CPA, please hit me up in the comments section. We'll talk to you guys next time.